Greetings, YouTube. I was listening to an interview with the guy that created Wikipedia, and he had come up with the software platform for it. That's what he does. He's a coder, and his goal was to create a source of knowledge accessible to everyone forever. The sum total of human knowledge that would be controlled by the users themselves. And so he had to set up a system of checks and balances so that people could edit anything they wanted, but to make sure that bad actors were not harming the information that should be accessible to others and not putting up propaganda, not spreading hate, um, things like that. And, the system's okay, this person has shown that they cannot behave, so they need a temporary block on their access to editing. Sometimes it came down to just as simply as addressing a person, or to say, addressing and say directly, saying, why'd you do that? And they actually got people to go from being vandals to becoming editors by addressing them directly and say, you just undid all this. Why? And it worked, which is really quite marvelous. And it got me thinking of when it comes to internet comments, there are lots of places on the internet where the comment sections are horrible. But the one that comes to most people's minds when you talk about internet comments is YouTube. And the comments do not have a good reputation when it comes to YouTube. As most of us who are YouTube citizens know, YouTube comments can be a cesspool of hatred and bigotry and trolling. And the only two places I can think of off the top of my head which are worse are probably 4chan and Reddit. And I put that in the specific order because I consider Reddit to be worse than 4chan. 4chaners are at least honest with what they are. The Redditors like to put on this veneer of civility while fat-shaming anyone they can think of and doxing people for entertainment. So yeah, I have a dim view of Redditors, dimmer than 4chaners. And if those of us who know who those two groups are, you know how insulting that is. What can we do to improve it? What can we do as users here on YouTube? The daily, everyday grind that we go through all the time. I'm on YouTube. I have this computer up, this or my Chromebook up and tuned into YouTube probably 4 to 5 hours a day. And I've almost always got something playing in the background. Obviously, not now. I'm filming at the moment. But I've got something in the background that I'm listening to or directly watching. Lots of things are just people like me talking heads, so I'm just listening to them. So what do we do to improve it? Now, we have control over our own actions and only our own actions. And I would like to tell you that my commenting history is flawless, but it isn't. I have been an asshole on YouTube on more times than I'd like to count. And even though every single day I make a concerted effort to be as ethical and moral and take the high ground whenever possible, I don't always succeed. There are days when I encounter things which are just, they get to me because I'm human. But I had an interesting exchange the other day that gives me hope. Having a conversation about politics. I think it might have been on Young Turks, but I'm not positive. And someone called me neoliberal. Now, anybody who knows what the term neoliberal means is laughing right now, because I am not neoliberal. I do not endorse the free market economy. And anyone that knows me knows I do not endorse this. I consider it to be the problem, not a solution. So I commented as gently as I could, I don't think you know what that term means. And the person then described to me what they thought the term means by breaking it down from conventional English usage. Neo, new, liberal points of view. But neoliberal doesn't mean that. Neoliberal is a economic model of free market economies, which really has nothing to do with either neo or liberal because it's not new and it's not liberal in the sense of politically liberal. It's liberal in the sense that it's economically liberal. So I explained to the guy what it actually means. And he said, so it's just traditional conservative economic models. And I said, yep, language is weird. And then he made some other innocuous, on point comment that didn't require my reply. And then we parted ways. There was no animosity. There was no trolling. He was not actually trying to be an ass. I did not come off as an ass. Everything was fine. And then at one instance, I walked the high road, if you will. And not only did I walk away not having antagonized another person pointlessly, but we actually had a civil exchange, and that person ended up knowing something they didn't know. So that's pretty much the perfect turnout when a comment that could have led to something very nasty, or at best, you just breaking off the conversation. That's pretty much the perfect way to do it. But I'm not always like that. I'd like to be, and I strive for it, but I don't always succeed. Now, knowing the only thing that we can do is control ourselves, what can we do? How can we improve YouTube and the comments that we all love? Because it is the exchange with you folks that keeps me coming back. So I'm looking for ideas. Let's share some. Maybe it'll be the ideal exchange.